All right, let's jump straight in. Today, we're looking at a decision that can really make or break a data platform, specifically two huge Azure storage services, Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. We'll probably call them BS and ADLS Gen 2, just to keep it simple.
And I think the first thing to get out of the way is that ADLS Gen 2 isn't some totally separate thing. It's actually a really smart piece of engineering. It's a convergence. You're taking the old ADLS Gen 1 capabilities and just layering them right on top of Azure Blob Storage. So really, ADLS Gen 2 is just Blob Storage plus a bunch of advanced features for big data.
That's a great way to put it, a convergence. So if that's the baseline, then our mission here is to figure out what those extra features are and when you'd actually pay the premium for them, right? To avoid that architectural overkill.
Exactly. I mean, to boil it right down, the purpose dictates the product. Blob Storage is, it's your general purpose, massively scalable object store. For unstructured data, Data Lake, on the other hand, is laser-focused. It's built specifically for big data analytics, for massive workloads.
And the scale difference mentioned in the source material, I mean, that was the thing that really stood out to me. Blob storage can handle files up to several terabytes per blob. That's already huge.
That's a massive, yeah.
But then you look at Data Lake, and it supports files up to several petabytes, a single petabyte file. That's just staggering to think about.
It is, and that leap in scale, it requires a totally different way for the storage to work under the hood. That's why the blob storage cost is lower. It's optimized for simple, direct object access. With Data Lake, the cost is higher, but what you're buying are things like atomic operations and true file system semantics, stuff that standard object storage just can't handle at that kind of hyperscale.
Okay, so that cost premium buys you performance. But what does that look like on the integration side? With blob storage, it's pretty simple, right? Just standard HTTP, HTTPS protocols, easy to plug into web services.
Right. But the Data Lake experience is different because it has to speak the language of big data tools. It's built to work with Azure's machine learning and analytics services, but the critical piece is that it supports Hadoop compatibility. It uses something called the ABFS driver.
And that's the translator, basically.
Exactly. It's what allows tools like Databricks or Spark to look at that object storage and treat it as if it were a local file system.
Got it. And what about security and the types of data? Both have standard encryption, I assume.
They do, but Data Lake adds extra features you need for those complex compute jobs. And more importantly, it's about the beta mix. Blob storage is fantastic for unstructured or semi-structured data. But the Data Lake, it's designed to store both, structured and unstructured, all in one place, which is what you need for those really comprehensive analytical models.
Okay, so this is where we get to the real nuts and bolts of it, the permissions.
This is the biggest differentiator. If your analytics job needs atomic transactions, meaning it either succeeds completely or it fails completely, with no in between, and if you need really granular control over who can read, write, or change a specific file, you need the Data Lake.
Right, because the Data Lake supports POSIX-like access controls, ACLs, and that's the crucial bit that makes those complex jobs secure and reliable. So for use cases, it becomes pretty clear. If you're just, say, serving images for a website or storing backups or writing log files, blob storage is your perfect, efficient workhorse.
Absolutely. But if you're building a modern data warehouse, or you're running real-time analytics, or you're trying to process massive streams of IoT data or user click streams, where that compute engine needs the file system view and those atomic guarantees, then ADLS Gen 2 is really the only choice. So if we tie this all together, the key takeaway is pretty straightforward. Blob storage gives you the massive, efficient foundation. The Data Lake is the hyperscale analytics platform built right on top of it. It adds that crucial layer, specifically the POSIX permissions and the file system semantics, that technologies like Azure Databricks need to even function.
Which really makes you think. Considering ADLS Gen 2 combines blob storage with these incredibly advanced features, how might that change our expectations for basic object storage? Not just on Azure, but across all cloud providers. You have to wonder, will every cloud eventually be expected to provide those file system semantics right on top of their standard blob store? Something to mull over as you design your next petabyte scale architecture.